We're joined now by Ahmed Fattouh, who is a spokesperson for the Palestinian National Liberation Movement. Thank you very much indeed for joining us once again. Always a pleasure speaking to you. We're in this situation where Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of President Trump's Gaza peace deal. Crucially, the release of Israeli hostages, Palestinian prisoners, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from parts of Gaza, and the entry of aid. How do you see events unfolding over the next few days?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. We are hopeful that this would lead into a longer process that would lead to a perpetual peace, to a lasting peace that would recognize the Palestinian rights of self-determination and independence. Of course, there are many steps that need to be taken first, from releasing the hostages, swapping with the prisoners, and reconstruction of Gaza, the withdrawal of the Israeli occupation. These technical parts need to take place now, and we are hopeful that it will be finished within a week. Then to go to the more serious process and stage 2, which should discuss the permanent solution and the resolution to the question of Palestine, which should be within the two-state solution and the United Nations resolutions. So we are hopeful this have stopped the genocide and stopped the killing, and now we look forward that this would also bring more prosperity and security to the region.
Does it look to you like the hard part is still ahead of us, or do you think we could say that, do you think there's an argument that the hard part is now behind us because the momentum is there, the spirit is there for the negotiations to move on to the next stage? What are your thoughts?
Well, there's still many points that is very sensitive and that need to be discussed. It hasn't been mentioned, and I think that would require more political dialogue or diplomatic dialogue and more negotiations and direct negotiations within the main two parts, which is the Palestinian state and the Israeli state, with the existence of mediators, of course. Until now, there's no direct talks. Now, but most importantly, the first priority right now is to stop genocide, and I believe now the foreign minister of Israel has called that Israel will not remake the war or declare the war. So we are hopeful that they are serious and committed to Trump plan, and they will abide with the international law this time and don't break it like the last time in January. But we rely heavily on the international community and on our partners in the region, and the Arab world, and on the solidarity movement around the world to pressure more until to achieve the two-state solution in its full sense, not a way that suits the far right of Israeli government that don't want a Palestinian state, don't want anything about Palestine. So we are hopeful that Mr. Trump is serious, and this time the United States could play a major role into making that take place. His speech lately and his post in the Truth Social says some more balanced word than before. Last post he said, we look forward for a peace between the Muslim world, the Arab world, and Israel. So that indirectly means that he's looking to resolve the main issue. And when we talk about the main issue, then he is referring to the critical points of the peace deal, which would include the Palestinian state, the refugees' right of return, Jerusalem, and all of that. So I hope Mr. Trump is going to continue his pressure until we achieve these points and to reach a fair deal.
Yeah, but until then, we have a lot of, and you've mentioned this already, we have a lot of stumbling blocks that we have to address. There are a lot of potential bumps in the road. One of them is Hamas giving up its weapons. Do you think Hamas will give up its weapons?
The leaked information lately said that Hamas have accepted into an Egyptian proposition or Egyptian suggestion where they could freeze Hamas weapons within an Egyptian committee. So in other way, that's handing over their weapons to Egypt. So I believe that is a great progress. And they also have declared before that they don't want to stay in power, and this is also a positive step. And also, a required step by the Palestinian people, because this is the national unity under the PLO and the Palestinian Authority is a major demand by the Palestinian people, because we are tired from, the unilateral action that Hamas did, and now we are looking forward into a legitimate authority that would represent the consensus of the Palestinian people as a whole, not as a party. So there's positive parts. I believe there's more to discuss, of course. There's issues maybe right now between which names will be released from the Palestinian side, from the prisoner sides. I hope they would reach a breakthrough. And but all in all, the main theme, there is positivity over there, and we believe we are, just a few days before hearing good news.
Right, and as we've been saying, the momentum is there, and there are some new faces and new participants in these discussions that weren't there before, not just on the American side, but President Trump was keen to get Turkey involved. I'm just wondering whether you see the involvement of any new parties as having been the catalyst, and perhaps credit needs to be given to any one party for getting this first step over the line.
Well, the mediators played a major role. Saudi Arabia played a vital role into reviving the two-state solution. With France, they made the International Conference for the Two-State Solution in New York. It issued a great declaration statement that reaffirmed the two-state solution, the rights of the Palestinians, as well as the major concerns of Israel of security and release of hostages. So it was a very balanced document that justify or bring justice to both cases. Also followed by the international global summit for the question of Palestine that took place in September. That was also reaffirming these basic principles. So now also there is a meeting in Paris between the main partners, including Saudi Arabia, Turkey, France. I believe Americans could participate. I'm not sure if they have confirmed yet, but that also come to consolidate the concept that a solution must address the major factors, which is the state of Palestine and the two-state solution. Now, the technical obstacles that they are discussing right now, I believe it could be resolved. When we are speaking about the hostage swap, the Hamas weapons, Hamas leaders leaving Gaza Strip, these are more easy to resolve, in my opinion, because Hamas has expressed their positivity into accepting these forms, so that is also a positive. And the Trump pressure on Israel to go with the peace deal is also a positive. So these first phase, we are positive or quite confident it could be successful. Now, the most important part is the second phase, when we start speaking about the reconstruction of Gaza, when we start speaking about, the sovereignty of Palestinian state and the security issues and the international forces that want to preserve peace, because that is more wide discussion, that's more complicated discussion that requires the United Nations Security Council, all the Arab partners to engage. And we have to bring the point here that the reconstruction of Gaza is going to cost hundreds of billions, and going after that requires an actual framework, a comprehensive political framework that would ensure a stability and peace for the long future. Otherwise, rebuilding Gaza and spending billions, then Israel to go and invade or for a war to break out, that will collapse everything and will be very costly. So I believe now there is more evidence on the ground, more points on the ground that need to be taken seriously this time. And I believe Israel cannot run away from the fact that they need to recognize the Palestinian state and recognize the Palestinian independence.
What do you think about the tone and the negotiating tactics adopted by the Hamas negotiator-in-chief, Khalil al-Hayya? He said, for example, that he valued the efforts of the US President Donald Trump. I mean, that's a very conciliatory tone, and he's putting across, he's got this first stage over the line indirectly with these negotiations in Sharm el-Sheikh. Do you think he's trying to reach out here to Washington and perhaps bring about a rethink on the part of the Trump administration towards Hamas?
Well, I think Hamas continue to think as a party, not as a Palestinian leadership, unfortunately. They did not incorporate the Palestinian Liberation Organization. They did not incorporate the Palestinian Authority, and that's regrettable. I'm not sure what their aims are, but we could read between the lines. Hamas, of course, are trying to find, a place in the future, maybe, or trying to make guarantees or ensure that they will not be attacked and their readers will not be targeted and their money will not be confiscated from the banks. And so they are discussing what Hamas needs, not what the Palestinian needs. And when we come to the Palestinian national issues, this need to be done with the Palestinian state, with the Palestinian Liberation Organization, with the team of negotiations that we have to discuss the major issues, the right of return, the East Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa Mosque, the water resources, and the right of refugees. All of that need to be discussed. Hamas will not discuss that, and they have said, to give them credit, that this is not their job. This is the job of the PLO, and that is correct. They will discuss the part of the hostages, and I hope that they will handle these negotiations back to the Palestinian Liberation Organizations, back to the authority, and to those who actually, are responsible for the Palestinian people. And so this is the time, I believe, that we have to reject any unilateral action by parties. The time of parties or factions by Israel to take decision and to jump into the unknown by himself and drag all the Palestinians. This is finished. Now we are looking for one state, one authority, one security force, and sovereignty over Gaza and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem.
Okay, and just lastly, Ahmed, how far off do you think a two-state solution could be? How many months, how many years could we be looking at in the best-case scenario?
It depends how much serious and committed the United States is and the international community. If you ask me, it just needs to apply the international resolutions. This is it. If we apply the international resolution, the UN resolution 2334, 242, and 181 speaks about giving Palestine 45%. We accepted 22%. So if they apply 242, that alone would finish this issue for real. But until now, there's always have been a regression. When we reach a point that we will go into two-state solution, there's always a regression that the international community succumb to Israel's plans. And Israel look for a plan that suits Israel, does not suit the world, does not suit the Palestinians. And Israel wants hegemony, wants occupation, and wants the greater Israel. They are speaking about it openly. But if the world had the commitment, we could achieve the two-state solution immediately. To withdraw from the Gaza Strip and to withdraw from West Bank, this is a matter of international law. This is a matter of legal matter. This is not a gift. So Israel have to withdraw. And when we speak about East Jerusalem, this is as defined by the international law, by history, is a Palestinian land, an occupied Palestinian territory. So Israel need to withdraw. And when we talk about governance, then the PLO is the sole representative of the Palestinian people. And we define our future. We define our destiny. We want to go for elections. Now, President Mahmoud Abbas welcomed Trump announcement for the peace and welcomed the 20-point peace plan, and also announced that we are committed to work with the international community, with the UN, and in order to achieve peace and to apply these steps further in stages until we reach that point. But it has to be within the framework of the two-state solution. It cannot be within a framework of unknown future. And I hope that the world now is in solidarity with Palestine, and the growing pressure, the growing recognition of the state of Palestine has sent a message that the world can no longer tolerate the oppression and persecution of the Palestinian people. It is time for Palestine to be independent and free and to live like all other nations in the freedom and equality. I hope this will be the future.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us. Ahmed Fattouh, a spokesperson for the Palestinian National Liberation Movement. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.